What's up guys, Jaden Irwin here with Little Sticks. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I know it's been a while since I've first initially promised this course, but it's finally here. This is the Sanity and Astro crash course. So if you don't know a lot about Sanity and you don't know a lot about Astro, that's okay. We're really going to be starting from scratch on both fronts. But really to kind of explain it in a nutshell, what is Sanity? I would probably recommend starting at their website. Just sanity.io is their website. And it really is a headless CMS, maybe on steroids, is how I usually explain it to people. A lot of people are really familiar with what a headless CMS is now these days. But think of Sanity as more of a database approach. And it's got obviously the UI on top of the database that you can kind of manipulate the fields that people are changing for their content. And then at that point, it's just an API that you can pull that content from. So a lot of really cool power underneath the hood with Sanity. And one of the things that I like the most about it is that you don't have to worry about a database and managing a database. You don't have to set up authentication or any of that. Like, it just does sort of the basic things for you out of the box, which I really like. There's a lot of really large companies using Sanity too. You know, Netlify, Figma, Nike, like everyone on here is pretty big. And there's some other big ones too that use Sanity that I know of. So yeah, it's a really awesome tool. It seems to be one of the highest rated CMSs out there. I talked about that a little bit actually in my last video, where I just kind of went through my predictions for 2023. And I do think Sanity is kind of on the cusp of really taking off in more of the mainstream of web development. And then just kind of a quick recap of what Astro is. I'm sure you probably know if you've been following along on my videos a little bit. But Astro is a front-end framework that leans on the side of less JavaScript / no JavaScript by default. So when you set up a new Astro site, it doesn't include any client-side JavaScript out of the box. You have to kind of opt in to put some JavaScript in your client on the client end. So yeah, Astro, super popular. It's really taken off. I mean, 26,000 stars on GitHub. I feel like the first video that I did on Astro, it was in the 1,000 or 2,000 range. I would have to go back and look, but yeah, it's definitely taken off in just, about a year or so. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it though. This video is really going to be starting from scratch. We're going to set up a brand new Sanity Studio using the V3 version that just released, I think, end of last year, 2022. So it should be up to date. I'm trying to keep the content as up to date as possible here. And then Astro 2.0 actually just released last week as of recording this. So there's some pretty cool features in there that we are going to play around with. So let's go ahead and get started getting everything set up. The first thing that we want to do is set up our Sanity Studio here. So all I have is two folders inside of this main folder, Astro and Sanity. You can call these folders whatever you want. You could call the Sanity one backend and Astro front end. That's actually normally what I would do myself on like my personal projects. But I think for the sake of this course, we're just going to call one Sanity and one Astro to be really clear. And then we're going to cd into Sanity. And then let's just do npx sanity login. So the reason we're doing npx here is because we want to kind of use the Sanity CLI, but maybe we don't really want to install the Sanity CLI necessarily. So this is a really easy way to do that. Just npx sanity login. So it's going to ask about your provider for your login. If you don't have a Sanity account already, I would probably recommend just going to their website and creating an account there. But I think you can also do it through this flow. So I'm going to do Google. And then once you see this return to the terminal screen, we can go back to our terminal. And it's going to have our open in browser link if we wanted to use that, but it should open automatically. So login successful. That's what we want. Now let's go ahead and we are going to npm create sanity at latest. So what this is doing is having us create a brand new Sanity project in this folder, and we're using the latest version of Sanity, which is that v3 of the Studio. There's a lot of cool stuff in the version 3 of Sanity Studio. Definitely take a look on their website. I'm sure they have a blog post about it. It basically is a rewrite of the way that Sanity Studio works under the hood. So if you have been using Sanity in the past, it was using, I believe, like Webpack. It was using kind of some older technology to run your Sanity Studio under the hood. And they recently have switched it over to Vite, which is very popular these days. And believe it or not, is the same thing that is building and running under the hood for Astro. So kind of cool to see the two tools using the same thing under the hood. So I'm just going to hit yes there, create Sanity. And the first thing that's going to pop up is it's going to ask you for your projects. So if you haven't created a new project, you're probably going to want to select the first one, create new project. And in my case, I have a Sanity crash course project, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then you're going to want to go ahead and say production, or it might even ask, do you want to use the default data set? You can say yes on that. So just go through those prompts. It's going to ask the project output path. In our case, it's going to be the folder that I'm in right now. And then when you are asked about this project template, I do want you to select blog. So make sure you select the blog schema. And then do you want to use TypeScript? So I'm not going to use TypeScript in this course, mainly because this is not a course about TypeScript. I know some people might not love that, but I personally use TypeScript in all of my projects, but I don't want to force that onto other people that are learning a tool. If I was doing a course on TypeScript, which maybe I will in the future, then we're going to learn about TypeScript. But in this case, this is just to show people how to use Astro and Sanity. So we might use TypeScript for a couple of things, but in our case, on the Sanity side, we're just going to keep it simple with JavaScript. So you're going to go through those prompts. It's going to ask about your package manager. I'm just going to use npm for now. That should be just fine. We're going to let it go through. It's going to install the dependencies for us, which is pretty nice. So nice flow so far, setting up a new Sanity project. I believe they've kind of reworked some of this command line a little bit, so it's a little bit faster. And pretty quick. I think it's almost done. There we go. So our Sanity project is set up under our Sanity folder. We've got schemas, static, package.json, kind of all the basic stuff. And then if you go to your Sanity CLI.js, there's a project ID and our data set production. So that's if you selected the default data set. And then we have Sanity config, and that is going to have the same stuff, project ID and data set. But then it's also got the title of this. Sanity crash course is the name of my project, so that's why it filled that out. And then we've got some schema and schema types. So desk tool and vision tool, we'll talk about that a little bit more. We can make sure that this works too. So we have Sanity installed, we might as well run it, right? So let's do npm run dev. And then it's going to say Sanity Studio using Vite is ready. Less than a second. That's pretty awesome. And then localhost 3333. So let's go ahead and open that. And it might ask you to log in. In my case, it just automatically logged in. And if we open this up, we have post, author, and category. So these are just the default blog schemas that it has set up for us. Let's go ahead and make a new blog post really quick. We're just going to do test, slug of test. We're okay to skip the author for now. And selecting an image, I think we can skip that for now as well. Let's just get some really basic stuff in here. So published as of 2/1, and then let's do lorem. Let's actually go to a lorem ipsum generator. And let's copy some good old lorem ipsum. Perfect. So that's pasted in. Let's go ahead and publish here in the bottom right. And we have a post that is published, and it's just a test. We could actually call this lorem ipsum. How about that? Generate, it's kind of nice. It's generating off of the title. So we'll go ahead and publish that. That looks great. Perfect. So now that's the Sanity side that's all set up. Now let's set up the Astro side. So if you followed some of my videos in the past, this might feel a little bit like a repeat of some other videos that I've done, but I really do want to show people how to start from scratch with both of these. So Sanity is using v3 and Astro is using version 2. So we are starting from scratch, even though this might be some content that you probably have also seen from me already. So let's do npm create, so similar to Sanity, right? Create Astro at latest. And this is in the Astro folder. Sorry, I should have explained that a little bit. So right click on Astro, and I did open an integrated terminal. So this is the cool little Houston AI like personality that Astro has created for Astro in general. So pretty sweet. Where would you like to create your new project? I think we'll just go with its default one, Major Moon. That's a cool name. A few best practices, that's probably what we'll use. We are going to heavily modify what is happening on the front end, mainly because we're using Sanity, right? But we're okay to use the recommended template. Would you like to install npm dependencies? Let's say yes. Take just a second. Git repository, no, in my case. Could be yes for you. Probably no though, because you'll likely want to put your Git in the parent folder that's holding both of these, right? How would you like to set up TypeScript? Let's just say relaxed. Once again, Astro uses TypeScript kind of by default, so that's okay. But we are going to go with the relaxed option because we're not really talking about TypeScript too much. Let's go ahead and copy everything that's here. I'm going to move it up to our Astro folder. You can leave it in the cool named folder though if you want to. And if we go back here, we should be able to run it. So let's do npm run dev. Let's just make sure our Astro project works. So localhost 3000. There we go. So welcome to Astro. Documentation, integrations, got all the cool stuff there. But localhost 3000 for Astro, localhost 3333 on Sanity. So both of them are running. I've got two terminals here. Let's go ahead and kill the Astro server though, and we're going to do npx astro add astro-sanity. So this is actually a package from yours truly. This is a package that I made to just make it simpler to integrate Astro and Sanity. People seem to like it from the feedback that I've gotten. It just kind of wraps everything that you would need to integrate the two into one package rather than having to install maybe 3 or 4 dependencies separately. So not a whole lot going on there, but that's really what it's for, is to simplify the integration. So it's just going to ask you some prompts here. Do you want to install Astro Sanity? That looks good. So import Sanity from Astro Sanity and continue. Yes. Cool. So what it's saying there is if we go to astro.config.mjs right here, we have our Astro config, and it automatically set up import Sanity from Astro Sanity, and it also set up our integration for Sanity right here. So to integrate Astro and Sanity with this package, I tried to make it really simple, and Copilot is getting a little bit ahead of us, but that's okay. We are going to go in and create an object inside of this Sanity integration or plugin. So we're going to do project ID, and then our project ID, we're going to go over to our Sanity folder, and we are going to go to the sanity config.js, We're going to go back over and copy that and paste it. So there's our project ID, and then dataset production. We're not going to do a token because we don't quite need that yet. We will probably in the future need a token. But we're just going to do a really basic setup here. Use CDN true, and let's do API version. And this API version is going to be V 2021. I think it's 03-25. That's kind of the one that I've been defaulting to for a while, but I think there are some newer versions of the API. So feel free to use whichever API version you want. In our case, for this crash course, we're going to be going through this version though. Okay, so integrations, Sanity, we've got our project ID, we've got our data set, use CDN. I like to put that one at the bottom. And then if we go here, we should be able to go back into our Astro folder in the terminal, and we're going to do npm run dev. And let's go back over to our source files here. If you want kind of a quick overview of what Astro does with that default template that we used, there's the card.astro, which is the component that is working for these cards here. And then if we go to layouts, there's a layout.astro, which is like the base layout. And we've got our doc type HTML, which is like the base file here. We've got our body slot. Style is global. We've got kind of some basic styles there for the way that this is looking. And then if we go to pages, index.astro, this is the base page, right? So it's using the layout. And we've got title that is being passed into that layout, so the title of the page. And then we've got our unordered list of cards and our main tag, and then some styles in there too. So if this is really confusing for you, I do have an Astro crash course that goes through the basics of Astro. It was on Astro 1.0, but you could go through that course if this is really kind of foreign. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this course on the Astro side necessarily. I want to spend a little bit more time on the Sanity side. We are going to talk about both, but I think this crash course is going to be a little bit more Sanity heavy than Astro heavy. So you might see me kind of drop in some base code for the Astro side a little bit more than I do for the Sanity side. But that's what we've got here on our components, layouts, and pages folders. And if we want to set up and kind of test this Sanity integration, we can do that a couple of ways. What I like to do is set up a lib folder, library. That's what that would be short for. So source and then lib, and then let's do a sanity client.js. So we could call this just sanity.js or client.js. I'm going to call it sanity client. And actually, if you go back to the Astro Sanity package that we're using, I'll leave a link in the description below. There's the Astro Sanity package that we installed and set up, right? There is an installation guide here that we're kind of going through right now, actually, right? So there's the 2021, 325, use CDN. So this should look very familiar. So using the client, let's just kind of go through this together. So querying Sanity with your client. What you're going to want to do is set up, you know what, we'll actually rename this. I'm not going to call it Sanity client. Let's call it API.js. We're going to import use Sanity client from Astro Sanity, just like what we have here. And then we're going to export an async function, get first blog post. So const query grok type equals post. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the next parts of this, but we really just want to do a quick test query. Does this work with my Sanity studio that we have running back over on localhost 3333? So feel free to copy and paste this block. You don't quite have to know how grok works and all of that. We will talk about that though. We're not going to do the image builder quite yet either. Let's just go ahead and see if the content is coming back from Sanity. So what I'm going to do is go back to our pages, index.astro. We're going to delete this UL. And let's also just delete the p tag. Welcome to, we can keep the gradient, Sanity plus Astro crash course. Let's see how that looks. Pretty good. Got our text gradient on there. That's nice. Let's do a p tag here. And we are going to actually use the async function that we set up in our API.js. So we're going to import up here inside the front matter of Astro. We're going to import get first blog post from lib API. And let's do the .js. It's all right. We'll leave it off. Const first post. Copilot's got a pretty good idea of where we're going with this, but we are needing to await that. So first post equals await get first blog post. And let's just go ahead, go into this p tag. We're going to do JSON.stringify. And let's just drop off the null too. So we want to essentially just make sure, okay, is this pulling from our Sanity Studio that we have running, right? So let's go ahead and save that. We're going to go back. Okay. Nice little error modal that Astro has. It actually looks really good. It's got a dark theme and a light theme. That's pretty cool to see. Open an editor is cool too. Let's try that actually. There we go. So it goes straight to the API.js file, it looks like. What we want to import is also grok. So this grok tag right here. So we're importing that from Astro Sanity. Let's go ahead and save it. If we go back, there we go. We've got welcome to Sanity plus Astro crash course. And there we have the lorem ipsum. And I know it looks crazy. It's got the created at, it's got some extra data in here, but it is just the same text, right? So lorem ipsum all the way down. We've got another paragraph of text here. Looks like some more Latin, right? So if we go back here, go to our second paragraph, there we go. So there we go. Yeah, it is working with our Sanity Studio. That's really it for this part. We're going to really dig deeper into the Astro and Sanity integration. We'll actually set up everything. But I think this part, we really just wanted to start from scratch with both and integrate it so we can see content coming from Sanity or data coming from Sanity on the Astro side. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned. There's going to be a whole lot more. Really, I should have said from the beginning, what we're going to be building is a portfolio website that's powered by Sanity and built with Astro. So should be pretty cool. I have some cool plans for it. So stay tuned. And thank you guys for watching. Thumbs up if you liked it, sub if you really loved it and you want to follow along. So have a good one. Peace.